came for. So this is the actual dinner, the party that we talked about back in scene 1, to celebrate Macbeth and Lady Macbeth as king and queen.
You know your own degrees. Sit down. At first and last, the hearty welcome.
Thanks to your majesty.
Ourself will mingle with society and play the humble host. Our hostess keeps her state, but in best time we will require her welcome.
Pronounce it for me, sir, to all our friends, for my heart speaks they are welcome.
So they're just welcoming all their guests.
See, they encounter thee with their hearts' thanks. Both sides are even. Here I'll sit in the midst. Be large in mirth. Anon we'll drink a measure, the table round.
So meanwhile, he's noticed that the first murderer is at the door to give him an update, so he heads over to the door while everybody else is, starting to eat, starting to sit down.
There's blood on thy face.
'Tis Banquo's then.
'Tis better thee without than he within. Is he dispatched?
My lord, his throat is cut. That I did for him.
Thou art the best of the cutthroats. Yet he's good that did the like for Fleance. If thou didst it, thou art the nonpareil.
Most royal sir, Fleance is scaped.
So this should really remind us of Lady Macbeth. So as he's talking to the murderer, Macbeth, after he hears that Banquo is dead, he says, you are the best of the cutthroats. So you are the best of the murderers, and you'll be even better if you tell me that, unequaled, meaning, nonpareil is unequaled in terms of, how murderers go, if you tell me that Fleance is dead. Obviously, we know that that's not the case.
Then comes my fit again. I had else been perfect, whole as the marble, founded as the rock, as broad and general as the casing air, but now I am cabined, cribbed, confined, bound into saucy doubts and fears. But Banquo's safe.
Aye, my good lord, safe in a ditch he bides, with 20 trenched gashes on his head, the least a death to nature.
Thanks for that. There the grown serpent lies. The worm that's fled hath nature that in time will venom breed. No teeth for the present. Get thee gone. Tomorrow we'll hear ourselves again.
When he says, but Banquo's safe, he means, is he safely dead? That's a play on words, because obviously when we hear safe, we think that he would be protected, but that's not what he means. The murderer says, yep, he's safely dead. And then their plan is to meet again to discuss what to do about Fleance.
My royal lord, you do not give the cheer. The feast is sold that is not often vouched. While 'tis a making, 'tis given with welcome. To feed were best at home, from thence the sauce to meat is ceremony. Meeting were bare without it.
Sweet remembrance, sir. Now good digestion wait on appetite, and health on oath.
May it please your highness sit.
So this is really important. Macbeth gets called over to the table to sit down, but in the meantime, the ghost of Banquo enters and sits in Macbeth's place. So what we talked about in class is that the fact that he's sitting in Macbeth's chair and Macbeth is king is that Banquo is saving a seat for his son. Is that's what he represents sitting there, as opposed to just being anywhere else or just being in the room. It's saying to Macbeth, I am saving a seat for my son, who, P.S., you just learned is still alive and could still technically be king.
Here had we now our country's honour roofed, were the graced person of our Banquo present, who may I rather challenge for unkindness than pity for mischance.
His absence, sir, lays blame upon his promise. Please it your highness to grace us with your royal company.
The table's full.
Here is a place reserved, sir.
Where?
Here, my good lord. What is that moves your highness?
At this point, everybody that's at the dinner is confused about what's going on because they're telling him to come and sit down, and Macbeth is saying that the table is full. So what's happening is that he's starting to look crazy, and think about if this is his first dinner party as king, and if this is kind of representative of him as king, his reign will not be successful. He's not going to be a good king.
Which of you have done this?
What, my good lord?
Thou canst not say I did it. Never shake thy gory locks at me.
So he talks directly
Gentlemen,
to the
rise.
ghost.
His Highness is not well.
Sit, worthy friends. My lord is often thus, and hath been from his youth. Pray you, keep seat. The fit is momentary. Upon a thought he will again be well. If much you note him, you shall offend him and extend his passion. Feed and regard him not. Are you a man?
All right. The other guys that are at the table try to say, Macbeth isn't doing well. They try to go sit up Lady Macbeth in an effort to try to smooth things over and make everything look like it's okay. Tells them to sit down. They say that my lord is often thus and hath been from his youth. So this is something that happens to him. It's not a big deal. Like, he'll move on and be okay in a second. But just privately to Macbeth, she says, are you a man? And so when she says that, she's basically inadvertently saying that he's acting weak and he needs to pull it together. And think about that phrase, man up. That's what she means here.
Aye, and a bold one that dare look on that which might appall the devil.
Oh, proper stuff. This is the very painting of your fear. This is the air-drawn dagger which you said led you to Duncan O.
So this is just the same kind of anxiety that you had before you killed Duncan. You're feeling that same type of thing. You're hallucinating. It's nothing.
These flaws and starts, impostors to true fear, would well become a woman's story at a winter's fire, authorized by her grandam, shame itself. Why do you make such faces? When all's done, you look but on a stool.
Prithee, see there, behold, look, lo, how say you? Why, what care I? If thou canst nod, speak too. If charnel houses and our graves must send those that we bury back, our monuments shall be the maws of kite.
So he's looking really crazy because he's talking directly to the ghost.
What, quite unmanned in folly?
If I stand here, I saw him.
Fie, for shame.
Blood hath been shed ere now, in the olden time, ere human statute purged the gentle wheel. Aye, and since 2 murders have been performed, too terrible for the ear, the times have been that, when the brains were out, the man would die, and there an end. But now they rise again, with 20 mortal murters on their crowns, and push us from our stools. This is more strange than such a murder is.
My worthy lord, your noble friends do lack you.
I do forget. Do not muse at me, my most worthy friends. I have a strange infirmity which is nothing to those that know me. Come, love and health to all, and I'll sit down. Give me some wine, fill full. I drink to the general joy of the whole table, and to our dear friend Banquo, whom we miss. Would he were here. To all and him we thirst, and all to all.
Our duties and the pledge.
So when he thinks that the ghost is gone, he goes back to the table. Lady Macbeth invites him back, and he tries to, again, smooth it over and say, don't laugh at me, don't wonder what's going on. I just have this thing that sometimes happens to me. It's not a big deal. And then, of course, he goes to toast to Banquo. Everybody just thinks Banquo's not there. Nobody knows that he's dead. But as soon as he toasts to him and everybody raises their glass to drink to him, the ghost re-enters. So now Macbeth speaks directly to him.
Avaunt, and quit my sight. Let the earth hide thee. Thy bones are marrowless, thy blood is cold. Thou hast no speculation in those eyes which thou dost glare with.
Think of this, good peers, but as a thing of custom. 'Tis no other, only it spoils the pleasure of the time.
What man dare, I dare. Approach thou like the rugged Russian bear, the armed rhinoceros, or the Hirkin tiger. Take any shape but that, and my firm nerves shall never tremble, or be alive again, and dare me to the desert with thy sword, if trembling I inhabit then. Protest me, the baby of a girl. Hence, horrible shadow, unreal mockery, Hence.
So, first of all, he says he would rather a bear, rhino, or a tiger come at him than Banquo's ghost, right? Like, so he's terribly afraid of Banquo's ghost. He also calls himself the baby of a girl, right? So, like, even worse than calling himself a girl or a woman, he knows he's being a wimp here. Um, and the ghost vanishes, and now he says,
Why so? Being gone, I am a man again.
so now he's brave again, because the ghost is
Pray
gone.
you sit still.
You have displaced the mirth, broke the good meeting with most admired disorder.
So you ruin the party.
Can such things be and overcome us like a summer's cloud without our special wonder? You make me strange even to the disposition that I owe, when now I think you can behold such sights and keep the natural ruby of your cheeks when mine is blanched with fear.
What sights, my lord?
I pray you speak not. He grows worse and worse. Question enrages him. At once, good night. Stand not upon the order of your going, but go at once.
Good night, and better health attend his majesty.
A kind good night to all.
So Lady Macbeth knows that this looks really bad. Macbeth looks crazy. He's ruined the party. Everybody is going to be talking. And so finally she says, don't speak to him again. The party's over. Everybody leave. So everybody except for Macbeth and Lady Macbeth are now gone.
It will have blood. They say blood will have blood. Stones have been known to move and trees to speak. Augurs and understood relations have by maggot pies and choughs and rooks brought forth the secretest man of blood. What is the night?
Almost at odds with morning, which is wit.
So we talked in class about Lady Macbeth means it's late, it's getting late, it's time to go to bed, night and day are at odds. But also what that represents is that this is going to be a battle, or foreshadows that this is going to be a battle between good and evil, just like in A Tale of Two Cities.
How sayest thou that Macduff denies his person at our great bidding?
Did you send to him, sir?
He noticed that Macduff wasn't there, which means he's on to the fact that Macduff doesn't like him, which will further their conflict.
I hear it by the way, but I will send. There's not a one of them but in his house I keep a servant feed. I will tomorrow, and betimes I will to the weird sisters. More shall they speak, for now I am bent to know by the worst means the worst. For mine own good, all causes shall give way. I am in blood stepped in so far, should I wade no more, returning were I as tedious as go o'er. Strange things I have in head, that will to hand, which must be acted ere they may be scanned.
So, first of all, he says he's going to go back to the witches. He needs more information. Remember we said in the beginning, the most action on the play was because of the witches, right? If they hadn't given the prophecies, nothing would have happened. However, at this point, that's not correct anymore. At this point, it's Macbeth. So he's in charge. He's the one who's deciding to commit all these murders in order to maintain his sovereignty. And so the fact that he needs to go back and hear from the witches again demonstrates that he doesn't realize he's in control. That's part of his tragic flaw of his blind ambition, right? Like, he just doesn't understand that he could just stop this. Along those same lines, he says, I'm in blood, stepped in so far, should I wade no more, returning or as tedious as going over. So he feels like he just has to keep going. It's not a choice, when really we know he should just stop. He doesn't have to kill anybody else.
You lack the season of all natures, sleep.
Come, will to sleep. My strange and self-abuse is the initiate fear that wants hard use. We are yet but young indeed. So by saying that we're yet but young indeed, it's just like we've scorched the snake, not killed it. There's plenty more murders that are going to take place. And that's the end of scene 4.